Hello and welcome along to another episode of this FM20 story from Dorking Wanderers with me, Daniel. It's the end of season 17 review, and today we look back on a very different season. We made Champions League football for the first time, finished in the top four of the Premier League and won the Europa League. But there's still a tinge of disappointment. We've had our fourth successive defeat in a domestic cup final. We're yet to win a domestic trophy. And we've got a big step to take now next season without key players who are already out with knocks. We've got to go through the end of season review messages first, then we'll have a look at our usual summer transfer plans, what we're hoping to change in the squad. Of course it gets a bit more minimal at this point, but the signings we make are going to be much bigger. As we prepare for Europe's biggest competition and hopefully for the first time a Premier League charge as well, but we're a long way off from that at the moment. So if you're looking forward to all that, please do put a thumbs up on the video. Subscribe down below for daily FM20 content, including 4 episodes a week from our new save with Cliftonville, as well as weekly live streams and our stadium review series. And this year, we've had a couple more of the current stalwarts make it into the overall best 11. So Josiah Semedo has made the bench, and at left back in comes Mazzino, overtaking Luke Thomas, the former star, and he's dropped down to the substitutes. But still Presley, Whittaker, Lopez, the front players. There's no change to the strikers here. And that just suggests that Marcos Paulo and before him Jeff Coppens have not been good enough. Aaron White on the left wing cemented his place with the Europa League final goal and assist. And Ryan Lima on the right did exactly the same. And now we've got Carl Boyce in central midfield ahead of Stefan Moles. I'm not sure about that one. But let's have a look at the best 11. Where are they now? A few players retired, of course. A few playing elsewhere. We came up against Michael Stropper in Europe in the recent years. Jack Walker didn't leave that long ago. And Fabio Lopez is still going. I didn't expect to see that. At 34, he's physically appalling. But aside from that, he's alright. And he's still going. So fair play to the lad. The end of season awards, Morgan Morale wins Player of the Year again. Ari Ensink wins Goal of the Season. Marcos Paulo signing of the season. And Morgan Morale Young Player of the Year as well. The season review reflects on a little bit of a mixed season. Brilliant stuff by getting in the Champions League, and that was via winning the Europa League as well. We lost in the FA Cup final and were disappointing in the Carabao Cup. In terms of the club vision, we've got to reach the Europa League next season via the league. Champions League quarter final. That's ridiculous. We're never making that. How can you expect on your debut to get to the quarter final? There's 3 teams that are better than us in England, let alone there. And we could still have Liverpool if they win the Champions League. That's ridiculous. But either way, we'll see what happens. The same as this year when they wanted us to win the Europa League. I know we did it in the end, but we had to scrape through against the likes of Bayern Munich, who were heavy favourites. It's a very strange dynamic. So we're going to tell the boys that we expect to finish in the Europa League places next year. Hopefully they're all happy. They are. They're in agreement. I'm not sure there'd be an agreement about the Champions League position though. Morale keeps getting interest from elsewhere. I've got a real feeling he's going to kick up a fuss this summer. I'm not convinced that we're going to be able to keep him. Carl Boyce is the best player in the Europa League, so perhaps we were a little harsh on him, but he wants to leave as well. We've got to bear that in mind, as 5 players make the team of the year for the competition. So that's how we finish the season. Let's go and have a look at the squad for who we might be turning over this year. And I'll probably have to include Carl Boyce, who I wasn't previously. Mitchell Baker, of course, out for the start of next season with his broken leg, so we might have to think about that. But otherwise, these are the 8 or 9 players we've got listed, 8 in total. So it's a mix of players we'd be happy to let go, 1 or 2 that we'd like to let go, and a few others that want to go. So if we have a look at the start, Oliver Petit, we're hoping for another miracle offer and we'll let him go as 3rd choice keeper. Cohen Mertens, 4th choice centre half, unhappy. He's behind Solly, who played the 2 cup finals. So we'll probably let him go. Try and bring in a star to compete with Baker and Semedo. We never know what Baker's going to be like after the injury. So we have to try and prepare for that if possible. Then Jerome Yonton or Jeff Coppens will go. And then Ewan Davey will be the backup in whichever position. But I don't know which one's going to go. Because Jeff Coppens, let's be honest, hasn't scored that many goals. We'd like to get massive money for him and reinvest it elsewhere. But Jerome Yonton is the poorer player. So we'll see out of the 2. Rhian Brewster's retiring. He just came in as a stopgap for 1 year when we thought Coppens was leaving on deadline day last summer. Aaron White, despite his final goals and his great rating, he is the worst rated outfield player at the club bar Brewster. And he's not good enough for Premier League level. I've no idea how he keeps playing so well. He's not been great in the Premier League, but that's largely off the bench. Where he's been a starter in other competitions, he's always done quite well. So I'm not sure what to make of him. Kieran Pollock, the backup right back, Correa's overtaken him now and he is still unhappy. So I think he's someone else we might have to let go. He's got 1 year left on his deal and he won't sign a new one. And then Jeff Coppens we've talked about already, and Carl Boyce, who is desperate to leave the club. So that's the position we're in at the moment. We're waiting for big offers. We're under no pressure to sell. The finances look fine. We've got a massive transfer budget already. Champions League football to come will only increase the amount in the club, and we'll try and control the wage bill yet further. So no real big negatives at the moment. Of course, let me know if you disagree with any of those decisions. The likes of Gleedorn, Williams and Solly will keep us backups because they're homegrown. And to be fair, in 2 instances, they're definitely good enough now. And in average rating, you could argue all 3 are. So if we go and have a look at the end of season review in that side, Keith Balter's made the most appearances for the club this season, certainly in terms of starts. In terms of appearances, I think he's top of that as well. Yeah, we've got no one else above 47, so he's top of the pile there. Or in fact, where are we down the bottom? Just looking at those who've made sub-appearances, but no one else competes. So Keith Balter's top of the pile. In terms of goals, Marcos Paulo 16 after joining in January, but really flattered to deceive in those 2 cup finals, despite being a big game player on paper. Jeff Coppens got 14, Ryan Lima 14, Ewan Davey 9 and Council 9, and Ari Ensink 8 and Stokic 7. Left wing is an area we've got to improve. Stokic, I don't know. He seems to be rated well, but he doesn't perform so often. Got the worst average rating of the starters in attacking areas, so I'm not sure how we go about that. In terms of assists, we've got big numbers for Ensink on 10, Morale and Lima on 8, Stokic and White with 5 apiece. I don't know. I'm just not sure about Stokic, to be brutally honest. I'd rather have him as a backup and bring in a superstar ahead, but an attacking left winger seems quite hard to come by in this generation. A quick mention for Paulo up front, who got 4 assists in addition to his 16 goals, so 20 contributions in 29 starts. Not bad post-January, but I'm wary that a few of those were pens. And then average rating, 7.3 for Morale, a standout again. Roger Solly in fairness did well, but played against lowly opposition in both the Carabao Cup and the Europa League. Mertens did well, but a similar story for him. And then Boyce, Semedo and Lima. Semedo's rating's very impressive considering his first team games. Lima had a bit of a bounce back this year. Started improving again. Started scoring goals again. I'm really impressed with him. So maybe another season we don't have to worry about the right. Gleedle above a 7-2, as was Ensink, who seems to be the long-term solution in attacking midfield, and he has gone up to 3-star now. So after those initial doubts from the scout reports, we were proven right to go on our instinct there. White and Paulo, the other 2 above a 7. At the bottom, the most disappointing outfield player who started games quite regularly was Jeff Coppens, and he was playing largely in games against backup teams, against the sort of Europa League strugglers, against lower league opposition in the Carabao Cup. I'm really a bit worried that his rating is still 6.87 there, because that shouldn't be happening. He's played a lot of games in the Premier League, not scored a huge amount of goals. In the Europa League he was very good, but in the FA Cup and Carabao Cup didn't score goals. And that's something we've got to be concerned of. So if we get a big offer for Coppens, we let him go. We tried to last summer, 107 million would have been miraculous, but he rejected the offer. But another club interested in Everton this year, so we'll see what happens. Fingers crossed we'll get a big deal to talk about. But of course, as we mentioned in the last episode, the big priorities for next year are replacing the left winger Stokic and replacing Mitchell Baker's injury and letting Mertens go. So we are in the market for a centre-half and a left winger, and that will be the core of our transfer special and first game of the season next time round. So let's hope that's good news on that front. So I think it's fair to say we agree with the Player of the Year, Morgan Morale. Semedo's definitely up there. He's really improved. He's now a world-class player, basically. And he's turning Cape Verde into a top-class side. Marcos Paulo did do well when he came in. There's no doubt about that. But we need to improve his training performances. And we need to improve his overall rating. Because he's got to do more to contribute to games. As we've had in other saves with the same tactic. We've talked about Ryan Lima's improvement. We've got the same for the likes of Mazzino at left back, who's become a top quality player. Gabriel Afonso in goal is really world class now. And then we've also got at right back Correa, who's improving quickly. And he's starting to become a very good player. Still a wonder kid at 20 and still improving quite quickly. In goal we've got the backup Leonardo Fabrizio as well. He's improving, and I think one more year we could probably let Afonso go. But of course we'd like to win the Premier League next year and not have to contemplate that. But otherwise, a lot of players improving quickly. Roger Solly still becoming very good, still a wonder kid as well. Morgan Morale is still the top class, world class player we needed. 5-star ability now. And then even the likes of Gleedle's improved this year, physically starting to compete now, good enough for backup in competitions. And we've got Sam Williams at left back who benefited from football. But again, just slight injury knocks and little tiny ones that keep him out of training, just causing a little bit of concern. But otherwise, still coming along quite well. So that's the squad at the moment, that's how we look. And of course, it's going to be a summer with some interesting signings. I'm hoping we won't lose too many of those backup players, but I'm aware 2 or 3 will go. So it's probably a slightly busier window than we'd like to have, but it still won't be a massive overhaul. So let me know what you think of the planned summer work. We'll see how it works out in the end. And we'll finish off this episode by having a look at all of the competitions across England. So we'll be back in a few weeks for the end of year review. And we are back on the 18th of June, and I can confirm so far, no signings, no sales. It's been a quiet window despite our expectations. But I think it's going to hot up quite quickly now. We're in an end of season with an international tournament. Something will round up next season. So hopefully there'll be a bit of movement soon. But as we know, in the Premier League we finished 4th. I just want to go and have a look very quickly. And I know we're breaking the character here at the Champions League final. Because it says Liverpool have qualified for the Europa League. And they were in the Champions League final. If we go and have a look at their stats, we can see the schedule. They must have lost in the final. They did. They lost to City in extra time. So the Premier League champions also won the Champions League. A very good double that. But Liverpool obviously still beat us in the FA Cup, so we can't get too excited. I was just getting drawn by that fixture list as well. 9 games where only one team scored, or neither. 3 0-0s. 6 games where only one team scored, and only a 1-1 draw between Tottenham and Derby. I mean, it kept Derby up. They'll be happy. But that won't have been a great match of the day. So we finished in 4th, Everton skipping above Arsenal and Liverpool into 5th, Brighton and Derby both in relegation struggles. The impact of NSYNC leaving Brighton is becoming very clear. Tottenham in the bottom half, Watford, Reading and Brentford relegated, and City winning their first title in 10 seasons. Down to the Championship, the playoffs were won by Crystal Palace on penalties against Middlesbrough, Burnley joining them and Huddersfield in the Premier League next season. I think that might be Huddersfield's first time back. No, it's not. They were up there in 2024. So they've only been 12 seasons out. But at the bottom, there are big shocks. Wycombe have gone back down to League One, but they are joined by Fulham and West Brom. Normally yo-yo clubs at the other end of the table. They are now going into League One. That is very surprising. We did not expect to see that. They can't have been that low in this series so far. So West Brom have been flirting a couple of years, but have never been below the Championship in this save. And Fulham, actually a very similar pattern. Both clubs struggling in the Championship for a few seasons. Nottingham Forest having a boring year, that's a bit rare for them. We don't like to see that too often. In League One, let's have a look at the schedule. Notts County won the playoff final convincingly. Back to the Championship for them. Joined by Oldham, who are on the way back up the pyramid. Blackburn go up as champions. At the bottom, Preston North End into League 2. Blackpool the same, Crawley and Chester. Again, Preston, not been that low in the whole series. Only dropped into League 1 a few years back. And they've had some poor years recently. Into League 2, let's have a look at the playoffs. Yeovil beating Tranmere Rovers. Burton, Bristol Rovers and Northampton going up. Oxford and FC United and Manchester at the other end. So Oxford back out of the Football League for the first time since they went up in 2010. That is very strange. This pyramid's definitely had a few shocks this year. Luton settling down in the bottom half of League 2. I'm not happy about that as a fan. We could take over there. It is tempting. Let's go down to non-league. The playoff final won by Hartlepool United. They're joined by champions Havant and Waterlooville in League 2. Stevenage down to the National League South. Torquay down as well, our FM19 club. I've just noticed second on the assist chart is Consalves, who we loaned to Fleetwood. So our feeder club did well there in non-league. But that's an interesting table. Didn't expect a few bits there. This has been probably the most shocking pyramid I can remember. Certainly the most surprises. Darlington are promoted, Solihull Moors as well. Kettering stayed down on 102 points. That's so unfair. Rushden and Diamonds back in the regional leagues after one season. Colville, Whitby and Alvechurch relegated. No massive shocks there. Cambridge United below Cambridge City again. 3 of the last 4 seasons. There's some interesting moments here. Let's have a look at the South. Easily beat Forest Green in the playoff final. Dagenham and Redbridge go back up. In the relegation zone, Merthyr, Oxford City, Hungerford and Hampton and Richmond. Still no Grimsby, still no Macclesfield in the regional leagues. There's a few clubs missing out. Let's move on to the cups. The FA Cup, we lost to Liverpool. The Carabao Cup, we lost to eventual finalists Arsenal, who got beat 3-1 by Chelsea. The Community Shield, won by United on penalties, 1-1 against Liverpool. We of course won't be in that next season either. Tottenham under-23s make it 2 on the bounce for the youth sides in a leasing.com trophy. AFC Wimbledon the beaten team. The FA Trophy, Bromley beat Barnet, a good season for Bromley. Top scorer in the competition, Manny Cook, one of our former players. He's at Sutton, now 31 years of age. Over 200 appearances for Yeovil after joining them from us for 10 grand. Dropped into non-league this season, and in the National League South was the top scorer in the FA Trophy. Fair play to the lad. Let's have a look quickly at Europe as well. The Champions League, we already know the result in the final. Manchester City beat Liverpool as we move on to next season. The Europa League, we don't need to reflect on either because we beat Celtic. We know the final very well. We watched it on camera and we have won 2 European competitions in 2 seasons. But who followed up our Europa League 2 success? So we can see it was Real Sociedad, but what was the score in the final? That's going to be the big question here. So Sociedad beat Fenerbahce 3-1 after extra time. A good season for them and a really good result. The European Super Cup last season was won by Arsenal against Manchester United. And next season, we'll be taking part in that for the first time. So I can't wait to see how we get on. I don't know if we get a place in the Club World Championship. I presume not. Because I would have thought it would be taking place now. It got moved to a summer event. So the Club World Championship, we scheduled next summer. So is it done every 2 years? No, it's been changed to every 4 years. So will we be involved in that? I really don't know how it works. But we'll definitely be in the European Super Cup. And hopefully we can be victorious in that. But that is probably the most interesting pyramid we've had so far. Let me know about some of the shocks, if there's any surprises I missed. Or what you thought of some of the news we've given there. And who do you think is going to be the title contenders next year? Will we be able to topple anyone with Dorking Wanderers? Only 5 points away in the end as other teams dropped off. City were focusing on the Champions League, Chelsea and United fell away, and Liverpool and Arsenal had a horror show. So what do you think will happen next year? Who do you think we're going to sign? And do you agree with the positions we're prioritising? If you enjoyed the end of season review, please do chuck a thumbs up on the video. Subscribe down below for daily content from this series, as well as our new FM20 story with Cliftonville. We've also got our weekly live streams and our stadium review series. And of course, there's much more over on our podcast channel as we're getting settled into the new season and things are starting to go berserk again. Matchday vlogs are back as well at non-league level, so much to be excited about. But a massive thanks for watching this one and following along for another season as always. I really do appreciate it. And I hope to see you next time round for the transfer special with Dorking Wanderers as we prepare for Champions League football and play our first game of the season.